Elon Musk replied to X Daily on a X post today, and he said he's back to spending 24/7 at work and sleeping in the conference room slash server slash factory rooms. I must be super focused on X and XAI and Tesla, plus the Starship launch next week. Elon says, I have come to the perhaps obvious conclusion that accelerating gross domestic product, GDP growth, is essential. DOGE has and will continue to do great work to postpone the day of bankruptcy of America, but the prolificacy of government means that only radical improvements in productivity can save our country. And of course, productivity is something that Elon can contribute to through his various business enterprises while he continues to have a hand in on the DOGE project. Kathy Wood says this. She says that she could not agree more. Thanks to Tesla's leadership in autonomous mobility and humanoid robots, as well as breakthroughs elsewhere in blockchain and multinomic sequencing technologies, global real GDP growth could accelerate from 3%. Actually, we're under 3% now at around 2.4. Scott Bessent thinks we'll be above 3% by the end of the year. She thinks we could accelerate from 3% annually to 7% plus. She says the 3% is the average since 1900. As we've gone through the Industrial Revolution, the Second Industrial Revolution, and the computer revolutions, et cetera, we've been averaging 3%. She thinks we could start to average 7%. This would be kind of amazing. And you've heard Brian Wong, if you've been listening to the channel a lot, Brian Wong talks about what that could mean downstream. From the Wall Street Journal, I'm going to take apart this article piece by piece because it was actually not a badly written article. It's just completely wrong. But let's take a look at it anyway. Listening to Elon Musk these days is to hear a man who feels unfairly treated. Well, what do you think? Do you think Elon Musk has been fairly treated by the Wall Street Journal, for instance? Oh my gosh, they've lied. They've misinformed. They have taken things out of context over and over again. So this is almost like the Jake Tapper deal, where the Jake Tapper said, "Well, I didn't know it was happening. I was so blind and blah blah blah. Now I'm being humble. I'm being humble. I'm yeah, whatever, Jake." So sounds like the Wall Street Journal calling the who are they calling? Yeah. Anyway, as he skulks away from the White House with his tail between his legs, I don't think that's true in any way, shape, or form. He is particularly thin-skinned. Elon Musk, thin-skinned. Can you imagine that assault on Elon Musk? I mean, okay, if you say from the heart, and then people call it a Nazi salute, and then people start tearing your customers' stuff apart, creating all kinds of mayhem across the world because newspapers across the world, TV programs across the world, people on YouTube, people on X, people on Facebook, et cetera, are all saying it was a Nazi salute, even though the words coming out of his mouth at the time were from my heart. Is it thin-skinned that he would find that to be offensive? Thin-skinned. Elon Musk is the guy who went to Russia and they told him he wouldn't sell him a rocket. So he turned around and built his own. I don't think the guy is thin-skinned at all. But their point is he's angry that he was called a Nazi. Yeah, there you go. Angry that some used his politics as an excuse to attack Tesla. Attack Tesla? Throw incendiary devices at the buildings? Yeah, that's attack. He's angry that he's being scrutinized. Elon Musk has said over and over and again, he loves being scrutinized. He loves it. That's why X is such a big benefit to him. It's a feedback loop. He says, give me the feedback. I want to know what I'm doing wrong. I want to be able to correct it. I'm willing to take whatever you throw at me. I'm happy to do that. It's not about being scrutinized. It's being lied about. People lying about DOGE, lying about the fact that it would attack Social Security, that people's pension number, that their Social Security amounts would go down or they would lose their Social Security, lying about what's going to happen to Medicare and Medicaid, which they continue to do. He's not worried about being scrutinized. He's worried about being lied about. Well, we've seen this all before, according to the Wall Street Journal. Musk has always had an incredibly large chip on his shoulder, one fueled by perceived slights and personal grievances, critics expressing disbelief and the chorus of social media doubters. Well, listen, there are things that people could say that Elon has gotten wrong. I've seen many things he's gotten wrong over the years. I'm sure you have too. I don't think that calling those guys in the that were trying to get those kids out of the caves pedos, and I think there's been other things where he's just completely gotten it wrong. But you know what? I haven't seen him be thin-skinned. I haven't seen him be angry about those things that he got wrong. I only see him being angry or somewhat miffed about the things that are just completely lies. Well, anyway, history has shown that he can unleash something fierce. He can unleash angry Elon, like the Incredible Hulk busting out of his britches and turning green. Musk goes silent before exploding. These days, I've never seen this. I've been studying the guy for years. I think I know more about Elon Musk than, probably the top 12, 15, 25 people on the planet that don't live with him. And I've never seen him going silent before he turns into the Hulk. Haven't seen it. I don't know even what they're talking about. These days, Musk again seems to be fuming, his eyes darting upward, his vision clouded red with anger. This is just such nonsense. This is supposed to be a real newspaper. This is supposed to be a financial newspaper. Can you believe this stuff? Unbelievable. No wonder they're going down the tubes. And angry Elon would be a very good thing for Tesla investors. It can focus him on executing, on proving everybody wrong. A Musk that executes can go to outer space, can make electric cars mainstream. He wasn't mad when he did those things. He was excited. He was enthused. These people don't know anything about entrepreneurs. He made electric cars mainstream and he put rockets in space and he's putting neural links in people's brains because he can see the future and he can see the opportunities that are out there and he knows that he has the potential to actually make those things come to pass. It has nothing to do with being angry. But investors haven't seen Musk execute in a while. Oh, is that right? Investors haven't seen Musk execute in a while. Let's see, what did Jensen Huang say about XAI? About the implementation of the giant supercomputer in Memphis. What did Jensen say? Oh, let's see, it was something about only Elon Musk could have possibly pulled that off. Something like that. Oh, well, let's see. Then there was the Twitter thing, where he bought Twitter and everybody's, oh, no, it's only worth 10 billion instead of 44 billion. And now all of a sudden it's worth more than 44 billion in a year and a half? And now it's been merged with XAI, and now it is a massive, maybe certainly close to, if not the number one LLM in the world. And it will be just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I would say that, and that's just, go ahead and look at Neuralink. Look what's happening with Neuralink in terms of the execution there. We now have 5 people with them implanted in their brain. We're getting ready to correct vision. They already know they can do it. It's just a matter of finding the next person and getting it approved by the FDA, and then they can put the next Neuralink in and do. No, he hasn't been. No, terrible execution. I don't know what's wrong with Elon. Oh, as he skulks away from the White House. Oh, what happened that before? I doubled that. I'm so sorry. And then, oh my goodness. Instead, they've seen the promises of a cheap Tesla that could fuel 20 million annual vehicle sales seemingly abandoned. Well, you probably stop thinking about making 20 million vehicles for regular folks who need to buy a vehicle for their own purposes when you now see the future as being 20 million robotaxis where people will be paying far less per month, per year, per whatever, per ride, per mile than they are now for their own vehicles. They changed everything. So you'd think they would say something like that. Well, maybe that's the reason. They've seen the Cybertruck flop. Oh, let's see. In its first year that the Cybertruck was in the business, it outsold every other BEV truck pickup truck in the business. They're suggesting that maybe it's being passed by the lightning, but I think we'll find that's not true when we get the final figures for the second quarter. They've seen the profitability shrink and the sales fall for the first time in more than a decade. Well, that might have had something to do with that changeover that took place. It might have had something to do with the Wall Street Journal and others lying about Elon and about what the Nazi salute was, et cetera, that maybe some people are not buying because they think that that was true. But fans remembering the power of angry Elon, I have no idea what he's talking about, drew hope from signs this past week that he might be back. Now, I'm admitting that he might be back, but it's nothing but to do about being angry. It just has to do with being focused. First, via video link to a conference in Qatar, Musk said on Tuesday he delivered salty answer after salty answer to concerns about the state of his companies. Well, he gives salty answers to journalists who don't know what they're talking about. Ask when he might be able to turn things around at Tesla. The chief executive replied, "It's already turned around." Musk proof point? Well, essentially, the age-old retort by Tesla fans on social media. Well, the stock price might be a giveaway that Tesla's doing just fine. Since announcing on April 22nd that he would pare back his time in the at the Trump administration, Tesla's shares have risen 43% in like a little over a month. This returned the automaker to the rarefied status of being valued at slightly more than $1 trillion. Overall, those shares are still down 11% year to date, 29% from the all-time high, but we'll be back there in just 2 to 4 weeks, right? 2 to 3 weeks now, I guess. Analysts estimate Tesla unit sales will finish the year down from 2024. That's just not going to happen. I guarantee, I can promise you that they're not going to finish down this year. This is a revert. Why do I promise you that? Because of what's happening in terms of the next couple of months that's going to increase the unit sales, and nobody cares anymore about those unit sales if they're smart. Musk's vision for the future of Tesla isn't bothered by the boring part of selling electric vehicles. Instead, his future is all about ushering in a new era of robotics, driverless cars, and humanoid robots. Well, there's a paragraph they got right. For roughly a decade, he has said the day was near for Tesla's autonomous vehicles. Meanwhile, Alphabet's Waymo and Amazon's Zoox have put fully autonomous cars on public roads. Well, on Tuesday, Musk doubled down in his second public appearance out of 3 for the week, this time on CNBC, reaffirming that Tesla's on track to begin offering driverless cars in Austin by the end of June. Actually, I think it's going to be the beginning of June. I think that's what's really going to happen. The plan, he said, is to begin with about 10 vehicles on the road in the first week, then increase that number by tens of vehicles each week and possibly reach 1,000 within a few months. He added there would probably be hundreds of thousands of autonomous Tesla vehicles by the end of next year, if not more than 1 million. It's the kind of ultra-ambitious targets he has promoted before. He just needs to execute. That would be true. During the CNBC interview, his recent track record in Washington was questioned, and he snapped again. Why are you attacking this, given that we've made so much progress? Come on, folks. They saved $160 billion. I mean, this is not, holy mackerel. How about saying, boy, you did a great job, but we thought you were going to do more. And then Elon did, and they don't talk about this. He went on to say, DOGE is still working. Give it some time. It's only been like 130 days. Even as he defended DOGE's effort, Musk has begun amplifying the idea that he's stepping back from politics after realizing the Republican-controlled Congress lacks the appetite to implement spending reductions, at least on round one. I've come to the perhaps obvious conclusion, he said, that accelerating GDP growth is essential. He posted we just had that post just a second ago. And he says, getting that productivity, robots are his solution. Seeing glimpses of angry Elon excites supporters the same way optimist Elon did a year ago at the Tesla annual meeting. His enthusiasm, dancing around on stage, seemed to signal he was dialed in after a year of distractions from buying Twitter. After shareholders reapproved his massive pay package, Musk stood on stage, painting a bright Tesla future filled with humanoid robots and driverless cars. He suggested that could drive the company's valuation to more than $30 trillion. Now, supporters are hoping angry Elon is ready to finally deliver. Wartime Elon has activated a popular X account called Autism Capital, posted in response to Musk's Qatar appearance. Others crowed something similar. Elon is in wartime CEO mode, a mega social media account posted Wednesday. He's done playing around. Total laser focus on execution. Tesla was founded on a rather unlikely idea of making EVs cool and mainstream. For much of its existence, Tesla's faced criticism that it couldn't succeed. And Musk was out there selling investors and customers on the idea that his vision was, in fact, possible. He just needed to execute. And once he did, it was a real game changer. Tesla hit the stride in late 2019 and 2020, becoming consistently profitable and cementing Musk's image as one of the most successful entrepreneurs of a generation. As one of Of course, past success is not a guarantee of future success. Even Tesla's position as the global leader of electric vehicles is under threat from Chinese rivals such as BYD. Of course, you realize that BYD, even if they were to pass or stay ahead of Tesla with regard to the quantity of vehicles that they're selling, they're nowhere close to the dollar volume of what Tesla is selling, and they're nowhere close to the profit of what Tesla is doing. Musk was long praised as Chinese competitor, and specifically BYD claimed he wasn't following the sales race. I don't really think it's about competitors. He said, I just think about making the products as perfect as possible. He just needs to execute. By the way, at the bottom it says, if you want to, you can write to Tim Higgins at tim.higgins@wallstreetjournal.com. Maybe you'd like to write to him and let him know your opinion of his article and how journalistically pure, how balanced his article was. This is from Strength Plan today. It says everybody should be watching 4 to 8 hours of Herbert, Stephen Mark Ryan, Farzad, Hans, Futuraza, and Randy a day, and also FSDing and keeping up to date with Elon's posts. That's the only way to get smart and stay smart. Nobody said keeping up with Tesla would be easy. That's why the Tesla bears exist. Because they can't do any research. They aren't disciplined enough. So this is the time where you remember to like and subscribe, notify, all that jazz, because you're one of those folks that spend 3, 4, 5 hours a day listening to all of those guys that were listed. Forbes has this article. This is about, I know I never talk about the competition, but I'm going to. This is about Waymo. About 20 minutes east of Phoenix Airport in Mesa, Arizona, is a 239,000 square foot factory that opened in October. Now, do you know how small 239,000 square feet is? That's only 10 times as large as my plastics manufacturing business was. And I was doing bottles, and they're doing automobiles. Every day, it turns out several battery-powered white Jaguar I-Pace electric SUVs loaded up with the company's custom-designed computer, camera, radar, and laser LiDAR sensors on a single production line. They do several a day. But the plan is to dramatically scale up the pace of doing the pacers and automatic output to keep up with growth plans, says Kent Yu, Waymo's head of vehicle manufacturing, who previously managed production operations for Apple and General Motors. We looked at our 5-year projection and to meet that, this facility will certainly need to be capable of doing tens of thousands per year. Tens of thousands per year, not tens of thousands per week, not tens of thousands per month, tens of thousands per year. We have the capability, the capacity here to support that growth. So their goal is to get to tens of thousands per year. The production scale is small compared to traditional auto plants that make hundreds of thousands of vehicles a year. How about millions of vehicles per year? But the 1,500 robotaxis that Waymo has provided thus far are providing more than 250,000 paid rides a week, or about 24 a day per vehicle. That's vastly more use than personal cars and trucks get. And by the time the Mesa factory gets 10,000 Waymos on the road, perhaps in a year or so, when Tesla will have 1 million or so on the road, the fleet could be booking 250,000 rides a day when Tesla's booking 2.5 million or 25 million a day. That's well over the 1.5 million a week that's currently happening. At that scale, Waymo's annual revenue could jump to 2 billion, up from Forbes' estimate of 100 million last year, while Tesla's goes to 20 billion. The company declined to comment on these estimates. The multi-million-dollar Mesa facility, Waymo, about the multi-million-dollar Mesa facility, Waymo won't say exactly how much it is investing there, is vital to the Alphabet Inc. unit's growth goals. After years of testing and pilot programs stretching back to 2009, powered by 3 funding rounds that raised over 11 billion, not to mention the untold billions more that Google has poured into the program between 2009 and 2020 before they kind of spun, I think it's partially spun off or something. Waymo finally became a real business last year. Okay, well, that's all I got for you right now. This is Randy Kirk. Like, subscribe, and all that jazz. Earlier today, I'll put up a card for the CERN Basher Part 2, which is doing extremely well. It's looking like it might have over 10,000 views by the end of the day, which would make it one of the top videos that CERN has done for me. And then you also could watch the video I did just a little while ago where I asked Grok to help me figure out what all the real moats are, the serious moats are that Robotaxi has against Waymo and against Uber, and how those moats are impossible for any other car companies to ever reach, giving Robotaxi the same kind of advantage that, let's say, for instance, Starlink currently has. So both of those will be up, they'll be posted. And then tomorrow we have I kind of know what I'm going to do tomorrow. The one thing I can tell you for sure is that we will not have a Monday morning because it's a holiday weekend. So we will eventually have Tuesday morning on Monday night, where I will talk then about what the financial news will be in the shortened week, the 4-day shortened week, which should include Tesla running up to 400. Right? Come on now. Let's all agree on that. Hey, listen, it's been great talking to you.